Here we go.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
And hello, Michael Koran.
Oh.
Welcome to the God Talk, guys. My name is Michael Mack. This is my good friend, Michael Koran.
Oh.
And once again, we are here to talk about God and faith and religion, spirituality, drawing from faith traditions from all around the world, but most especially drawing from our own lives. And if you can't find God in your own life,
Maybe,
you can't find God.
No, maybe on Central Square?
Maybe.
Walking
Maybe
around?
right outside the
Yes,
window
yes.
in Central Square. That's where God is. Well, let us trust in that. So, Michael, you've got this first half hour. We're going to do 2 half hours. And you are point man on this first half hour. You brought in some text. Would you like to start with that, or what would you like to do?
Well, I've been reading Brothers Karamazov online.
Mm-hmm.
Online, not reading it online, but reading it and having a book discussion group online.
Considered by many to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, novel of all time. Is that right?
Freud liked it a lot.
Freud thought it was the best.
Thought it was the best because it was a killing of the father.
Oh,
Freud
okay.
liked that stuff.
He liked that part of it. The good part. Let's read the good part.
He thought it was really great. So the epigraph, which I looked up, which means the little quote that a writer picks.
Mm-hmm. At the very beginning of the novel.
And Dostoevsky picked, I have it here, unless a grain...
So where's this from?
This is from the Gospel of John.
Okay.
Unless a grain of wheat or a seed, you could modern translate it,
Mm-hmm.
unless a seed falls to the earth and dies, it lives alone, or it abides alone. But if it dies, it brings forth much fruit, or a great harvest, according to different translations.
It sounds like a very mystical interpretation of that event.
Well, although
mystical metaphor.
Although very true. I mean,
very
a
true.
Seed.
That's how it happens.
I worked in
the seed's got to die.
In farms in Israel, and we planted seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And when the seed breaks out of its shell, out of its whatever its casing, then we can get a potato.
Mm-hmm.
Do potatoes come from seeds? I'm not so sure that's true.
Potatoes come from eyes.
Yes, I think that's not true for
or something
potato.
like that.
But for many seeds, that's true. With the little apple seeds, or a peach pit.
It's kind of amazing that in a tiny seed like that, the entire genetic code for that organism, it's all in there. The instructions are all in there.
Yes,
it's pretty amazing.
There's a psychologist named James Hillman who just died,
Mm-hmm.
and he had the acorn theory of human personality.
And unpack that.
The acorn theory means, he got it, I think it first occurred to him when he was reading about one of the great bullfighters in Spain.
El Corbés.
I don't remember his name.
El Corbés.
See, I'd never say that. If I said there was a great center fielder for the Yankees, I'd know it's DiMaggio. But the bullfighter's name, I forget. Forgive me, Spanish.
I know one bullfighter.
That's more than I, yes.
My cousin, when I was growing up, had a poster from Madrid.
Yes.
El Corbés.
Wow.
So that's what I remember.
Might have been him. And when this bullfighter was 6, and someone came over to visit the family, he was scared of people. And he would literally hide behind his mother's apron strings. So there was these 2 strings here, and he would be hiding behind them. And Hillman thought, oh, so that's what moved him to be a bullfighter.
Little did he know that apron would one day become the cape.
And these are the, yes. And according to Hillman, he had the bullfighter's genetic energy in him. And so it wasn't that him doing that at 6 moved him to become a bullfighter, but his draw to be a bullfighter meant that at 6 he would experiment with things like that.
So we are compelled to become what we are. But we might fight, and we can fight and resist all along the way, and many of us do.
Yes.
But we are, if not predestined, we are pushed very clearly to be who we are.
The wonderful Nobel Prize-winning poet from Poland, Milosz, says something like, "We are all called."
Milosz.
Yes.
Czeslaw.
Milosz,
Milosz,
I'm sure
yeah.
you pronounce it way better than I, thank you. And he said something like, "We're all called, and only later in life do we realize how faithful we have been
Oh, that's beautiful.
to our calling."
That's beautiful.
So there's hope for all of us, folks.
Well, do you experience that, Michael? When you look back on your life, do you see this thread of calling that has been there this whole time?
I felt I was called. Is that true? Oh, that's such rich questions. I mean, at this advanced age, way beyond you could even conceive of, young man that this is. I mean,
And this age, just so we're not
speaking metaphorically.
right. This
my
is
birthday,
73. Is that
I'm going
correct?
to be March 1st. I'm going to be 73.
73.
And
Okay.
I really am proud of it.
And are you getting used to being 73 by saying you're 73 now?
I said it for the last few months. I am 73.
That you're 73.
And I used
just
to be.
getting ready for it.
When I was 50, I was very ashamed to say I was 50 because I was, I didn't have a family, and I still feel ashamed that I don't have a family, and my sweetheart is just my dear beloved sweetheart, who I'm loving even more, but we are apart now and are just beloved friends. Which
Although
is very
that's in
beautiful.
transition.
Maybe, but it's very beautiful. anyway.
Transition. Stay tuned.
Yeah. But I'm now very proud to be this age, and do feel called to write certain books. I finished the first one. The second one I think will be finished this year. And thanks to my dear friend Anthony Donahoe, I finally got a title.
What's the title? Title in progress.
No, it's not in progress anymore.
Oh, this is done.
Yes.
This is going to be the title.
Yes.
What is it?
Heal, H-E-E-L, Heal Soul, a Step a Day. Nice
Clever.
and simple. It's very,
It's very
simple.
clever.
And very simple.
Simple and clever.
It took a year, talking about being called. It
Yeah.
took a year and a half to get that title. It was once Healing Soul or all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Just get the right title is important.
Oh, it's very important.
Really important. And it really is right. It's taking what we might be doing here, taking soulful feelings and thoughts and really grounding them so we feel them in our heels. So that's what, and to do it a step a day. Hopefully we're doing that this evening with our audience and
Hopefully.
ourselves. Yes.
Hopefully.
Okay, so we were talking about being called. I didn't answer that question, but just very briefly, I have felt called.
And do know that in the next, that we have about 20 minutes for you to tie up in a beautiful
All these different threads.
knot. Yes.
'cause
The thread of your being called, the thread of the Gospel of John, Brothers Karamazov.
Yes, it's all going.
Seed.
Yes. So, let's see. So, being called, I have felt called to write a one-person play about the story of Abraham and his family.
Now you've been feeling that calling for some time.
Yes, and I wrote a one-person play even before I met you, called another title I love, Inaudible Laughter, which was taken from Dante, who says that in heaven there's an inaudible laughter that pervades everything. Isn't that nice? Just like
Something to look forward to.
or maybe
Hopefully.
maybe we feel it here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's happening. Maybe it's happening right now.
Maybe it's happening for you viewers out there
Yes.
as you are watching us.
Yes, and
So much so that you will want to tune in again next week or in another 20 minutes.
Well, next week there's a vacation, but in 2
Oh,
weeks.
is it vacation next
Yes,
week?
yes.
Okay, I didn't know.
I'm glad to.
Thank
At
you
least
for informing me. I would have been here.
At least the show has of some work for some of us. Okay, so that has been a calling, and for reasons unknown,
A calling of doing this play
yes, I'm doing
Yeah.
this play and a book about it.
on this particular patriarch.
This particular, I have my opening lines, which I'm very proud of.
Okay.
You've heard them, yes?
I'm not sure if I have.
Oh.
Please tell me.
It's the title is, I like the title too, it's called Blessings from Abraham
Mm-hmm.
to All Families on Earth, Especially Yours.
Mm-hmm.
And the opening sentence is, call me Abraham. I am the father of over 2 billion Christians, over 1 billion Muslims, and over 3,500 years of Jews. You think you have problems with your family?
Hmm.
And so that's how it begins. We won't talk more about it now, but I chose to write these 2 books before that, even though that was my chief calling,
Mhm.
and I'm so glad I did.
So are you say so writing? It's sounding like is that thread of calling that you've been, as you look back on your 73 years.
I'm really a teacher, to tell you the truth.
I believe that. That makes
I'm
sense
not
to me.
really. You are really an artist. You really, really are. And I'm really a teacher. And there's a difference. So even my books, like my first book, Verse to Better, even that's like a teacher. Go verse and be better. We're going to help you be better. A poem for each day of the year. It just certainly, and it's like a textbook and says, okay, today we will look at the poem for today. And the second book is the same.
So this inner didact must come out.
It seems like
and leaks out all over the place.
I am called to be a teacher more than, I mean, I'm touched to be with you who are a true artist, and I love writing, but I still think the teacher is very much in there, for better or worse. But it's really, I mean, I have poems like, and you can hear the teaching in it. We're all the song and dance of God, even when feeling very odd, when aware our bodies aligning, we sense moves and sounds divine. And so it's a teaching.
And if you call Michael, and I won't give out his phone number over the air, but if you call Michael, you will get the invitation to listen to a new song.
Yes.
One just like that.
Yes.
Or push pound to move right through.
Yes, I give people an option, right? So it's a teaching poem. I don't know to what degree. I know if you
So you give people the option of being teached or not.
or taught or not. Yes.
Yes. Good point. Good one. Touche.
Okay, back to teaching about. But although there's a hard challenge between, if your writing is preachy, that's not good. And Dostoevsky was able to write by this Karamazov. He's a powerfully religious man. It was a hugely political novel. He was fighting the socialists. He knew a horror was coming to Russia, and he was fighting the atheists, socialists, and communists who wanted to make a kingdom of heaven on earth, and he knew it was horrible, and fought it as powerfully as he could in this book and others.
Now, the socialists or communists, somehow, would they have used that language that they're trying to make a kingdom of heaven on earth, or is that more your interpretation?
Well, Marx really wanted to say, I mean...
Marx was an atheist, is that correct?
Yes, Marx was an atheist. He said religion was the opiate
of the masses,
people,
yeah.
right? And he didn't mean it necessarily unkindly. Life was so harsh. At least you had some drug of choice.
Yeah.
It's very, very harsh for poor people. So it was kind, but he said that if you Feuerbach, who worked with Marx.
Feuerbach was he a
philosopher,
political philosopher?
And Feuerbach said the greatest horror of religion, which is relevant to the show, is it takes the beautiful things in humanity, our love, our power, our compassion, and it gives them to some kind of superior being or superior priesthood who are representative of that being. And so people stop believing how amazing they are because they're taught, this too, they're taught, I am unworthy, I am a sinner, you alone are holy, you alone are good. And Feuerbach thought
But I'd submit that that's a partial, his is a partial understanding. And that, but please continue.
Okay, but
Yeah.
we can hear, yes. So I'm just saying for Marx, and Feuerbach, that was the horror of religion,
Yeah.
that it took the power away from the people. And when the people found the power, which they did in the communist revolution, when they took the power to themselves, then they could create a workers' paradise, really. Marx said, where you work in the morning, study in the afternoon, play in the evening, like we do. Welcome to Cambridge, yes. Have a television show every
Yeah.
Sunday. This is what Marx wanted. We have come here. Okay, so, but Dostoevsky fought this because he knew that
He knew that a CCTV show was going to be the death of us all.
no, he knew that believing that for some unimaginable reason, what a horror, Marx thought that first you needed a dictatorship of the proletariat, because if you didn't have a dictatorship, then the corporate powers would be strong enough to take back their power, which happens again and again. When South American and Central American countries would vote for socialist or more liberal governments, the United States would come in there, what happened in Iran, and overthrow them. And establish the Shah or other people that we trained in the School of Americas. So Marx knew that you couldn't destroy the horrors of the capitalist system unless you had a powerful ruler when you took over after the revolution.
But it's also true that in Russia, I believe that this is so, please correct me if
Yes.
I'm wrong, that Russia has such a history of having a powerful ruler
Yes.
that whether it's Putin or it's Peter the Great or whoever, that I don't want to paint with too broad a brush, but it's almost as though the Russian people are not comfortable unless there's a powerful ruler in place. And I say this now expecting all kinds of hate mail.
Hopefully
Somehow, I don't think I did a very good job.
In a language, fortunately, you might not understand. However, I mean, you could have said that about Japan or Germany.
Yeah.
They were all ruled by him.
And even in our own country, we have this pendulum that swings back and forth between a party that wants to, and not necessarily only one party, because right now we have in the Democratic Party a very strong central government in the executive branch. So in our own country, the government swings back and forth between, I don't want to call it a dictatorship, but a strong central authority versus a more broad-based democratic authority.
And other countries like Japan, even Formosa, Taiwan now, which, many countries are learning democracy and are doing quite and all of Central and South America, which are learning democracy. Russia has not. But Marx knew if you had the communist revolution, you needed a dictator to stop the corporate powers from coming back. And unfortunately, he thought, I don't know why, maybe it was because he was like this, that this dictatorship of the proletariat would wither away and we would have a kind of really loving democracy where everyone would be respected and no one would impose power over others.
Well, maybe he thought it also because he spent a large part of his life in his room in his father's house. And as some would argue, as brilliant as he was, and he was revolutionary in his thinking, much more theoretical than practical.
Although
put it that way.
he really started groups all over Europe.
Is that so?
Oh yes,
That
and he
Marx
was
did?
not just a writer; he was an organizer.
Is that so?
Yes,
Okay.
and a writer for that. And a writer.
Well, I
in
bow
Europe.
to your superior
He
knowledge.
had a great job for the Herald Tribune in America. He wrote articles about Europe for a long time.
He wrote articles. Marx wrote
Yes,
articles
yes.
for the Boston Herald.
No, for the Herald.
For the Boston Herald,
no,
really?
For the New York,
Boy, they've come
no,
some distance
the
since then.
New York Herald Tribune.
Oh, okay.
The Herald Tribune. But Dostoevsky knew, and correctly really, that these kind of revolutions would produce a horror that would make the Tsar look good. And they did. I mean, Stalin was quite something. Mao was quite something. Even
Pol Pot.
Yes. Oh my Lord, yes. So, and he struggled. His book was like one of the prophets in the Bible, saying, we must keep in the new world we're building. We must keep continuous with the religion that we have been given. Christianity is crucial for our
Marx
lives.
was saying this?
No, this is Dostoevsky.
Oh, Dostoevsky. Okay.
Against Marx.
Okay,
It's like a
got
big
it.
battle, and Marx unfortunately won, at least in the short run.
Mm-hmm.
Although we're now, yes, maybe we're reading. So, and the heart of Dostoevsky's book is
The brothers Karamazov.
Karamazov, his last and best book, was, unless a grain of our seed falls into the earth and dies, it lives alone. But if it dies, it brings forth much fruit. So that he knew that both the age and people need to die to what they believe.
It's sort of like his book also. That great book was also a seed.
Yes.
And he died, I think, either shortly after finishing
Yes.
it, or
yes.
is that right?
Yep.
So that was the seed he left to all of us to unpack and become the, well, let's see how far we can string this metaphor.
Good for you knowing when to stop, Michael. Well, so where are we now?
We are at 22 minutes, so we have 5 minutes remaining. 5 minutes for you to tie it all together
Oh, well.
in a handsome red bow.
Well, I have been called, I understand this. Now, what follows from this, right, in the Gospel of John is even a hard, that first part, we can.
Now, are you sure that you want to go into this second
Maybe
one?
not, okay.
Because I only ask because
I agree. We could stop here. I think we have tied things together, have we not? We understand the struggle between, we could ask.
okay, here's what we're trying to tie together.
Yes,
Your personal life journey, your personal calling,
yes.
and the epigraph from Dostoevsky, The Brothers Karamazov, and we're tying together Marx and communism and socialism and Christianity.
And the struggle against, that's a hard struggle. It's happening today to incorporate, maybe not socialist, I don't know what, but I'll stick to what I know better myself. At least better than that.
Good start.
Yes. And so I feel daily now this truth, that
The truth of?
dying and being reborn, I'm getting used to it. It's like a habit.
Yes.
Okay, when I don't like what's coming up in me, like I have many feelings that are not like the feelings I'd like to
It's
have.
like Boston weather. Wait 5 minutes and it'll be something else.
I'm hateful or all kinds of, or picky or uncharitable. I was helping a neighbor with groceries. I went to the store and the neighbor asked me to get too many things to carry, and I was carrying them back, and I was angry at her. She knew I was walking, and she asked me for too much, and while I was having this angry feeling, I dropped the big soap container and it splattered on the ground, and it was a reminder to me, oh my, I have to, because I love this woman, I have to watch my thoughts. I have to, so even when I have these irritable thoughts.
Now I need to know.
Yes.
What happened? Did you take her the busted container and say, sorry, this is the best I could do? Did
I
you
had to
go back and get some more?
I had to go back and get some
Go
more.
back and get some more.
Yeah.
And have DPW come out and clean up the mess on the street?
I even cleaned up the mess. It was good.
So what's the takeaway? And
But
maybe the takeaway is what will tie all of
Yes,
this
the
together
takeaway
in the
was
last 3
that
minutes.
I need, when I have these thoughts that I'd rather not have, I can even ask, I have a friend of mine who says you need to tame your thoughts or educate them. I now think, this will sound probably too nice, that when I have these because as you get older, especially uncharitable thoughts.
To be a human being means to have those uncharitable thoughts.
I can say, oh my, I need a kinder thought, and I can open to it. And so the other one can, it's almost like a reminder. Okay, remind myself that I love this woman a lot. And so the uncharitable thoughts can die and be reborn into kinder thoughts.
And is that a practical, just, I mean, if there's a kid behind you, in the pew behind you, kicking the pew,
yes,
will that technique help?
I'm trying. This is my new, at least I'm new at this. Very, very new. But this is like this. Unless a nasty thought falls into the earth and dies, I'm stuck with it. But if I can open and say, okay, earth, sky, sometimes just looking at the sky or feeling the ground.
Raising your eyes to heaven.
Yes, yes, or feeling the
Rolling
breeze.
your eyes to heaven.
Or feeling the breeze, really. Or looking at a tree. I spend so much time indoors. To go outdoors is like an excursion for me. Wow, there's a snow outside and air. Who would have guessed? So that would be a dying and being reborn for me. And I only have 45 seconds.
45 seconds to tie it all together.
Oh, I thought that was my best. That was my best tie. Isn't that hard when you think you've tied it together?
Oh, believe me, you've died. You have died.
I have not tied it, but I count on you to help. We'll see. Although the next show is Michael talking about.
The next show is in 3 minutes, and you will see
of
us born again into a new life, and into new possibility of making a mess and cleaning it up.
Yeah, it's going to be tied together. Stay tuned and watch Michael Mack.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye from the God Talk guys. See you in 3 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, that was.
Hello,